Perfect. I think we have a good audience. So good morning, everyone. Uh, Welcome to this webinar for the Vancouver and November store release. What's new for LSD? So I've just shared a URL in the chat. So after this webinar in a couple of days, you can go back and check that page. We'll upload the webinar recording on that page. And I believe the slide deck for this webinar will be uploaded over there as well. So what we'll be covering as a part of this webinar today is we recently had the Vancouver family release, as well as on November 2nd, we had a new version of the LSD application release. So we'll be covering some highlight features. We'll be going into details of use cases and how you may benefit from those. And then we'll be wrapping up with a Q&A session. So originally, my colleague Shafat, who is the director for outbound product management here at ServiceNow Legal Service Delivery, was supposed to join this webinar as well, but unfortunately he's out sick. So it's just me. And I have my colleagues, Tyler and Caroline here as well, who will be helping answer some of your questions, as well as they might come off mute during some of the sections wherein they want to add in additional details, but they'll be monitoring the chat and responding to questions as I present. So safe harbor notice. So we might be making some forward-looking statements here, mostly in terms of roadmap or some features that might already not be out there. Unlikely, but just of a statement to put here. So, yep. And these are the rest of the webinars. In case you're planning to attend any of the webinars, you can scan this QR code and get the rest of the webinars that we have planned, and they are broken down by application. So you can search them by the application that you're interested in, and then register yourself for other webinars as well. So some housekeeping items. So essentially, when I'm speaking, the participants will be muted. But if you have any questions, feel free to drop that question in the Q&A section of the chat. So there's a Q&A section in the Zoom window, so please use that so that we can track the questions as well. And Caroline and Tyler will either be addressing those questions, or we'll be marking those questions to revisit at the end of the webinar in the Q&A section. So the recording will be shared, and I've shared the link as well. So the agenda for today is, first of all, we'll start off with a quick summary of the features at a high level. We'll go through the list of what all is new, major features as well as minor features, and then we'll go on to the Q&A section. So moving on to the next slide, the summary. So this is at a high level, a 30,000 feet view of what all we'll be discussing today. So we'll be discussing the Next Experience Legal Counsel Center, as well as the Next Experience Legal Ops Dashboard and Legal Executive Dashboard. We have a new workflow introduced in this release called the Invention Disclosure Workflow. So we'll be discussing that in a little more detail. We have a new integration that is available out of the box now with Legal Tracker. So if your organization or if your customer's organization is using Legal Tracker, then now there's a possibility to integrate Legal Tracker with ServiceNow Matters. So we'll be discussing that. We have a new option for external storage capabilities, that being the iManage integration. So we'll go into a little more detail on the iManage integration, how it works, and how, if you're already an iManage customers, you can take advantage of that integration between iManage and ServiceNow. And then lastly, we'll cover some minor enhancements. So quality of life improvements that essentially help improve the efficiency for the legal service delivery if you have it working already. So that said, let's dive in. And we'll start off with the major features and enhancements. So first of all, just a warning there, not a warning, more of a note here before we start diving into the features. So it says that Vancouver and November release, but some features may be compatible with Utah as well. And so if you're on Utah, you might want to check on the store page for that particular feature in case you want to use it. So in this particular feature, the Legal Counsel Center, it's a Vancouver only feature, but there might be some features that we might discuss, especially the minor enhancements that you still can take advantage of even if you are on Utah. So you just a note that please do check the store page for the list of compatibility. So starting off with Legal Counsel Center. So what we have done here is we have moved the Legal Counsel Center and the Legal Ops dashboard and the Legal Executive dashboard over to the Next Experience UI. So what it does is, especially for the Legal Counsel Center, it gives a lot of configuration opportunities for the Counsel Center. So earlier on, if you've been using the Legal Counsel Center, the landing page for the Legal Counsel Center Classic, as we now call it, was pretty much set. But now we have more personalization options for to set up your landing pages in the Counsel Center. That said, you can also tailor the experience. On the previous slide, on the Counsel Center, you can still tailor the experience by roles, and you can personalize it essentially to drive efficiency, and you can bubble up whatever is most relevant for your legal fulfillers on the Counsel Center. And essentially it's done using the configurable workspace framework. And I see a question in the chat. If you may please paste the questions on the Q&A section, but I'll still address this. So the question is this the same as Agent Workspace? So it is built on the same framework as Agent Workspace. So essentially you'll find a lot of similarities, but this is a workspace dedicated to legal altogether. But functionally, it is fairly similar, yes. And it is built on the same configurable workspace foundation. So if we go on to the next slide, we've introduced a new workflow this time called the Invention disclosure workflow. And the inspiration for this workflow, in fact, was our own internal ServiceNow Invention disclosure process. So we took that process as reference, as well as talked to several other customers, and have come up with this out-of-the-box workflow that you can build on top of. So we've introduced a new practice area called Intellectual Property Practice Area. And this new workflow for Invention disclosure as a part of it. So what it does is it allows, it has predefined intake forms for employees to submit their invention or disclose their invention to the legal team. And then the legal team can then review that legal request and decide whether or not they want to proceed. If they do decide to proceed, then there are available legal matter templates with predefined stages for application process, as well as filing the patents and granting the patents, different stages defined that you can leverage. So once a matter for this legal disclosure is created, you can manage the life cycle for this through that matter. Additionally, you can associate tasks for financial rewards. So financial rewards are configurable. So you can set up financial rewards at different stages in the life cycle of this workflow. At the same time, we do realize that not a lot of organizations have an in-house capability to work on patent matters, essentially. So we have also added support for outside counsel, where there is a feature where you can generate a PDF extract of the matter at hand and attach it to the outside counsel and send an email to the outside counsel, all as a part of this out-of-the-box workflow. So it makes the process of engaging outside counsel a lot easier, because you can just summarize the entire matter at hand, send it over to the outside counsel, and then track it from over there. Perfect. So moving on to the next workflow, and I see a question around Counsel Center, so we'll come to that question as a part of the Q&A section. So now we have, so we did discuss briefly the role of outside counsel. So let's say if your internal legal team decides to engage an outside counsel for certain matters, if you don't have that capability or that expertise in-house, then we've often seen customers use this product called Legal Tracker to manage the engagement with outside counsel, and more importantly, the spend associated with that outside counsel, the budget associated with that outside counsel. So we wanted a way to, one, kick off that engagement with that outside counsel from ServiceNow itself, and secondly, also have a way within ServiceNow to be able to track the engagement as well as track the spend information without having to navigate or swivel chair over to Legal Tracker if you are indeed working with outside counsel and interacting with them through the Legal Tracker. So for this, we have introduced a new Legal Tracker spoke. And so the spoke has some actions, and then we've built this Legal Tracker integration using that particular spoke. And you can essentially, agents can create a task to, engage or create a legal tracker matter directly, and you can set the initial parameters for the legal tracker directly within ServiceNow itself. And then whenever there's any update in the legal tracker matter, that update is brought back to ServiceNow through the integration, as well as the spend information is brought back over to ServiceNow as well as a part of this integration. So moving on to the next slide. So this was the legal tracker integration. So if you're a legal tracker integration customer, then that's certainly something that you can explore if you see value there. The next one is around iManage. So as some of you might already be aware, we have external storage options, Box, Google Drive, OneDrive, SharePoint, and most recently, iManage. So any attachments that you have on your legal requests or legal matters, let's suppose you decide to not store them in ServiceNow and you're already using an external repository, then this integration allows you to store your documents in that external repository. And as a part of the Vancouver release, we've added storage in iManage as an option as well. So as a part of this integration, you can automate the creation of the workspace, as well as uploading that any document that is attached to the said ServiceNow request or matter directly to that iManage workspace. And then you can also manage the access from within the space. So I know my colleague Tyler has some expertise within this iManage integration. He's been speaking to a lot of customers, especially customers who've seen adoption challenges with using LSD, because we've heard from some customers that they wanted to continue using that iManage plugin, essentially Outlook add-in, where they could just drag and drop emails there. So this opens up that possibility to still work on ServiceNow matters and ServiceNow requests and still continue having that capability to use, using iManage. So Tyler, if there's anything more that you want to add on this?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think that was a great overview. And if you'd like, I could go ahead and just do a quick demonstration of that if we have time.
Yeah,
okay.
We can.
Absolutely. Okay, I'll go ahead and share my screen. Okay, perfect. So I'm here in the Employee Center, and I'm going to just quickly demonstrate what that iManage integration looks like. So within the Employee Center, as Nicole, who is just an employee in this instance, we can come into the Employee Center and quickly engage with legal in a couple of different ways. I'll go ahead and use our legal tab up at the top of our screen here just to quickly browse to the different requests that are made available to us specific to legal. And so I'm going to jump into this conflict of interest request. Let's just imagine that maybe, the holidays are coming up. And so Nicole has a conflict where she's looking to maybe, earn a little bit of extra money on the side for the holidays. And so if we come in and jump into that conflict of interest request, we can have the ability now to upload directly into iManage. So again, this is, some outside employment that Nicole is wanting to try to work to get approval around. We'll see that she has that ability to add an attachment. So let's just say that, as Nicole, maybe she's wanting to upload an offer letter, or maybe she's wanting to upload, in this case, maybe some type of policy that she's found on the intranet internally to help, to reference her request. And so maybe it's the conflict of interest policy that the company has published. And so she could go ahead and upload that, and maybe she's got that, local to her machine. And so as she comes in to upload that document, we'll see that she can now go in and submit her request for outside employment. And again, what ServiceNow is going to do is it's going to immediately push that document into iManage. We want to try to get that into iManage as soon as possible and allow users to work within iManage around the document and meet users where they are. And so that's really how the integration is designed. And so if we go into documents, we can see that this is Nicole's request. So she's still got visibility into that request, obviously. And so here we can see that the document is available for her. And if she has an iManage license, she could go in to iManage as well as an end user, and she can jump right into the document, and it will take her into iManage so that she can see the document's been uploaded successfully. Now, on the back end of that, I want to show what it would look like for the legal team member quickly, or an attorney. And so via the Legal Counsel Center, we can see that there's our homepage dashboard as an attorney or legal team member, and I've got all of my requests that I'm monitoring or that I'm currently assigned. And so here's one request that's just come in that we just submitted for that conflict of interest. And again, we can see that document was uploaded by Nicole. And so maybe, again, this is a policy, our conflict of interest policy that Nicole is saying, hey, I have this on my machine. I just want to verify that this is the most up to date. And so as the legal team member, we can quickly jump in as well into iManage after we assign this to ourselves here. Just refresh quickly here. And so we can jump right into the document as well, and make sure that this is in fact the right policy and the most up-to-date policy. And what we can do is, if we come down here, we're able to see the security details around this documentation. So we can push permissions into iManage specific to who has access to this document and what their access level is. So in this case, we can see that Susan has full access, but Nicole might only have read-only in this case. And so this is not just, I think one of the biggest things that we want to communicate is this is not just some static link that lives out there. This is a link that is locked down based on those permissions that are provided via ServiceNow. And so from there, obviously, if this was something that we wanted to dig into further, we can come back and look at the folder structure within iManage and what have you. But if we needed to upload a new version, let's say maybe that, that Nicole had uploaded an outdated version of that policy, we could go ahead and quickly attach that. It would upload into iManage, and then Nicole would be notified that there is a new document and new version available. So that's just a quick demonstration. Happy to answer any questions around that. But if I'll go ahead and pass it back over to Gaurav.
Thank you so much, Tyler,
Absolutely.
for that demo. I'm sure you helped answer a lot of questions with that. Perfect. So that was the iManage integration. And for those of you who haven't used the external repository, any of the external repository integrations, the rest of the integrations work similarly as well. So instead of iManage, the document repository might be Box or Google Drive or OneDrive. So moving on to the minor features now. So this has been a fairly consistent request from our customers. So the use case here was that employees essentially don't exactly know which request to submit. So most of the time they just end up submitting a general legal request. And it might turn out that, hey, this is a conflict of interest request, or hey, this is a invention disclosure request. So what was needed was, until now, fulfillers were needed to add a comment and link them to the right record producer so that they can submit the right request. But now we have an option of transferring this legal request to the right practice area and the right category, so the fulfiller can do it themselves. So as you see over here in the screenshot, there's this option to transfer request. And in the next screen, you get an option to choose the practice area and the category you want to transfer it to. So what this does is it closes this original request, and then it opens a new one with the details copied over to the correct practice area or correct category. So now, if we going on to the next slide, previous one, enhancements to this transfer request. So there might be the case that you may have an elaborate intake form associated with the new request that is being transferred to. So the agent who is transferring, they have an option to fill in the details themselves in that intake form, but in some cases, the agent might not be aware of all the details. And the employee might be needed to add in that additional context based off of the new request. So in that case, we've added that capability where the agent can essentially send to employee for them to complete the missing information in the new request. And this enhancement essentially ties to the new request showing up in the My Requests tab on the Employee Center portal. So the employee can go to the My Request tab, and then they'll see a new draft request under their name, where they can go in and complete all the missing information and hit submit. And in which case it will follow the regular life cycle for this request. And on the next, so that was the transfer request option. We have added a certificate of completion. So if you're using DocuSign, then it's called certificate of completion. If you're using Adobe Sign, then it's called an audit certificate. So if you're using simple contracts and for NDAs or third-party contracts, then in that case, along with the signed documents, you can also see the certificate of completion attached to the signed document. So that is one of the enhancements that we have in this release. Going on to the next one. Version control in Google Drive. So there was that. And so I see a question already where around document revision or multiple documents for one record. So that's where the version control comes in. So we have added capability for version control in Google Drive, with Google Drive for NDAs and third-party contracts. And I'll have to check, but I think we already had a version control for OneDrive for the same. So it really depends. The response to the question, it really depends in regards to the document revision on which your document repository provider is. And if it is supported, then you can have document versioning. So starting now, we have the Google Drive integration. So this was essentially the features that we wanted to discuss in terms of what's new in Vancouver, as well as the November 2nd release. Once again, if you're on Utah, you may or may not have access to all of these features. But it's always worth checking on the store page for that feature, or work with your partner or account team to determine whether it is something that you can uptake. And here's the link to our community page. So if you have any questions, then there's an active community that will help answer any of the questions that you have. And at the same time, the doc site has most of the things fairly well documented as well. So if we go on to the next slide, we have an upcoming webinar as well. So if you're a customer of legal service delivery, and if you're interested in how other organizations are using legal service delivery to transform their business, then we have a webinar, and Andrew from Wayfair is going to discuss how they are transforming legal ops at Wayfair using ServiceNow. So definitely will be an interesting webinar to attend. And I'll see if I can copy the link. Yeah, I found the link. I'll copy paste the link in the chat as well, so you can register for this webinar through this link. So thanks everyone. We'll still be on in case you have any questions for a few more minutes.